I actually think foiling's pretty daunting to people. It's daunting to me, and, and I think I know a lot about the sport. I mean, I look at the foils and I look at my foil, and I just pick up my foil and put it in the car. I've just been told this is a good foil, so I ride it. But
Hmm.
it's just unbelievable. You have to be a little bit of you have to be a little bit but like a foil geek like Gunnar Biniash to get into the technical side of foiling. I mean, it's quite daunting to people. It's hard enough for people to understand what different kites do. So, it goes back again. Are we over? Um, over what's the word I'm looking for? Are we sort of over complicating everything we do?
Hmm. Yeah, it might be. I mean, I'm a hobby musician all my life. I don't know if you are into music. Um, do
Only
you?
listening.
Yeah. So if you are looking at the consumers in music, they are buying like gear just to buy gear. Like I
Yeah.
have one electric guitar, and I'm probably the only guitar player in the world who has one electric guitar for 20 years. That's very, very rare. Everybody has like five, six, seven guitars. So as guitar players are kind of, accumulating guitars, we as surfers are kind of accumulating surfboards. And
Yeah.
and what musicians also like to do, especially hobby musicians, is like that the amateurs, they are talking constantly about new gear, because they're
Yeah. True.
probably we're too lazy to practice, so we're talking about new gear, trying to to overcompensate with the gear our skill set. And that's also something. I mean, we are all passionate about surfing and wind sports, and that's probably also the reason that we like to talk about gear, like to geek about gear. And some guys, they only want to go out and ride, and that's a total different
Yeah.
attitude. Yeah. And I
Are
tr-
you are you a
yeah.
are you a are you a minimalist by nature? I mean, you're the kind of person who doesn't want to have a lot of kites, and you like to have you mentioned do it all kites. Are you a minimalist when it comes to your gear as well?
Let me put it that way. I enjoy traveling minimalistic, and
Mm.
for me, kite surfing normally is traveling. Um, and I really, but I really believe, like, if there's a reason to get another kite, if there's a reason to get a second board, then I'm gonna get it. But if I can avoid it and keep my travel equipment light, I'm gonna go for light. So, and that's why I neglected wingfoiling for over a year. I was looking at some guys in Tarifa 2019 wingfoiling, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? You are a decent kiter. It's 25 knots. Why are you fooling around on this huge board with this huge foil and this crazy looking, stupid looking wing? Why are you doing it? I didn't get it. And the guy had traveled to Tarifa by plane with his kitesurfing quiver, with his wing falling quiver. I mean, like, but this guy he's kind of guy who gonna brings it all. Like if you travel with this guy in a car, you have this tiny space for yourself on your back, and he's gonna take all the rest. And I've never
Yeah.
been this kind of guy, So that's why I didn't get started with wing falling. But I also have to say, like, because I like to travel light, what I really love is now here in my in the trunk of my car, I have an inflatable board that is super light. It's packing down in a rucksack, in a backpack. Super cool. I can put my wing into it, and I could also put my foil into the same backpack. I haven't
Mm.
traveled with it because there
Is
was
it
not so much traveling, but
yeah.
I could.
Is it Zico? Is it Zico? I know Zico do an inflatable board. Who makes your inflatable board?
All the brands are doing inflatables now. The one that I have
Ah, they
now is
see.
is from F1. Super super good
Ah,
board.
yeah.
It feels like a solid board. It's the best inflatable that I've ever ridden. I mean,
Mm.
I'm not in any case getting paid to say that, but I really believe it. It's the best inflatable I've ever ridden in any sports discipline. It feels like a rigid solid board. You get a light
Yeah.
foil, a light wing, and you have a setup in a backpack that you can travel with. You don't even have to pay extra for it because it's a normal backpack. And I can probably ride with this setup in conditions from 12 knots to, let's say, 2022 if I'm yeah,
Mm.
if I want to go up to 30 something, I need a second wing, and that's it. And it's one backpack. So that
Why would you
is
want to go?
that's
Why
good.
would you want to go out in 30 knots on a wing? I mean, that's kind of if it's 30 knots on a wing is crazy. Why would you do that?
I hear you.
You shouldn't
I
be
hear
foil.
you.
Listen, my personal opinion is foiling should be for light winds or riding waves. I don't like high wind foiling. I don't get high wind foiling. One of the greatest things that kitesurfing gives us is the ability to jump in strong winds. Why would you take that freedom away?
Yeah.
Why would you take the core essence of kiteboarding away to be on a tiny 2 meter wing flying along in choppy conditions and
Yeah.
thinking that's awesome?
Yeah. Have you been a have before kitesurfing, have you done any water sports?
Yeah, I mean, I come from a sailing background. I'm in a surfed as well, so yeah, most things.
But not windsurfing, for instance.
No, 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 never
No.
went surfed. Sailing.
So I was a windsurfer. When I grew up as a little kid, I was a windsurfer. And then kitesurfing came around and I saw some kiters. And for a couple of years, I thought, like, hey, this is stupid. You need another guy to launch your kite. I can just go into the water with my windsurfing gear right away, right? Why should I look for someone to launch my kite and to land my kite? And then I started kite surfing because I told myself, hey, these guys are already out there having fun and let's 15, 18 knots. I don't even consider windsurfing in 15, 18 knots. It's just not that much fun. You need at least 18 to 25 knots, something like that. Um, so I started kite surfing as a low wind discipline. And then I found out, hey, if I have stronger winds, I can jump higher, I can do more tricks, it's and then I stopped basically windsurfing for a couple of years and I just went kite surfing. So it started as a light wind sport for me and it ended up being my number one sport. And then when kite foiling came around, that even opened up the door. Like you can basically now, from 6 to 60 knots, you can basically kite surf, right? And I hear you, like now some people are going into wing foiling as a low wind discipline, but I believe it's just a different feeling that you get. And now I'm so hooked at wing foiling. I mean, I'm gonna go kite surfing if the conditions are great, you know. I'm probably also gonna go windsurfing here and there if the conditions are great for windsurfing. But I'm now so hooked that I can jump higher in higher winds. I can then probably learn new tricks. I can ride bigger waves. It's crazy. And it's not the crazy thing about wing foiling is it's not a foiling discipline. I know that sounds crazy. It's a surfing discipline. And I was in a live stream yesterday with Robbie Nash. Unfortunately, it was not my live stream, but Robbie, shout out to Robbie Nash. You're gonna be on this podcast, just that you know. um, and Robbie Nash basically said the same thing. He said, if the conditions are perfect, I'm gonna be out there ripping Hukipa, whatever it is, on my windsurfing board. But how many times do I really get perfect conditions? And in the other conditions, he's just enjoying wing foiling now so much that he just goes wing foiling. I know it sounds crazy, and I don't want to take away kitesurfing from you. Don't get me wrong. Do it,
Don't worry
enjoy
about it,
it.
man. Don't worry.
But yeah, but
Hey, I'm not.
I
Hey, look, don't, Daniel. Let's get one thing straight.
yeah,
I'm not here to defend kite surfing for sure. And you know
yeah.
what, man? I will start winging, and I'll probably enjoy it. I mean, I'll probably fall in love with it. But all I'm saying to you is that uh, um, that I like Robbie said, every water sport has its position, right? If there's a
Mhm.
no wind, no waves, or no wind, maybe SUP is the great answer. So we have to. I think they have to. I, I still think that you got SUP, you've got light wind foiling, but then when the wind comes up, and I never windsurf, I never got it, but I understand why people like the high winds because of what you can do. But I think that's where kite surfing comes alive. The problem is that a lot of people who get into winging, if you ask them what kind of riders they are when it comes to kite surfing, they're just lawnmowers. They're back, they're forward, maybe a back roll here and there. That's it. So, or they have the opportunity to try many things. People aren't, and for a long time, wing foiling was just mowing the lawn till someone thought, hey, I can do a
Yeah.
backflip. I can
So
do a
maybe
back roll. I can do
just for
jumping.
yeah, if someone is not familiar with the term lowering the lawn, how did you say it? Sorry,
Mowing the lawn.
mowing the lawn. Yeah, that's going back and forth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, is about 80% of all kite surfers and almost 100% of wing foilers. They just go back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward. And that's the majority. So I kind of feel that the same people will get involved in both. But we've only seen the more tricks come into foiling in the last 1 year, right? Before that, there wasn't that
Yeah.
many. There wasn't that many tricks in foiling.
And it was, I mean, there weren't that many tricks like last season in wingfoiling, you know? It just started. So I was attending, I have to tell you the story. I was attending the first wingfoil event in Germany in October 2020. It's not that far away.
Mm.
And I saw it popping up. And I told myself, I'm not a good wingfoiler already because I just started it in September. You know, I got hooked in my summer vacation, but I thought, hey, let's just go there and be a part of it, you know, like maybe I get to know some people, it will be nice. And there was a racing event and a freestyle event, and what I didn't know is when I said I'm gonna participate, that I'm not only in racing, I'm also in freestyling, and I had no freestyle repertoire. I just could go back and forth and jibe, and that's it. So for racing, I was good. I could because my experience of kitesurfing and windsurfing, I was okay. You know, I could race with some guys, and it was
Yeah.
super fun. But for freestyling, I was like, guys, I don't know what to do. But I mean, the fun thing is like there were some of the best guys in Germany, and they had like, let's say, I don't want to, yeah, they had let's say they had like 5 maneuvers, 5 tricks that they could then, you know, like do combinations of or
Yeah.
maybe variations of, and that's
But
it. And
even then, most of the time they're not even landing them. They're doing a back roll and just crashing. I mean, most of the time it's just it's a backflip, right? I mean, they're not landing.
yeah,
They're not landing and riding away all the time.
no, sure not. But the fun part is that now during the winter, like when I saw videos of the Brazil Superfoil in December, and then the Tarifa Wingfoil event,
Yeah.
the level the level exploded in 2 months. In 2 months, it exploded, and I feel the next 2 years we're gonna see stuff that we didn't think it's possible. Like Balz Müller is already on it, and I had Wyatt Miller in the podcast, who is a former freestyle windsurfer, and he basically said, "Yeah, if more windsurf freestylers are putting their mind onto wingfoiling, the level is gonna explode." And I feel like this is one part, like because windsurf freestyle is super close to wingfoil freestyle right now. You can take the same moves and just transition them into wingfoiling. And the next thing that I'm really stoked about is like when surfers and surf foilers are coming into wingfoiling
Mm.
and riding big waves and stuff, you know?
Yeah,
That's
we see
gonna be a whole nother level.
Kai Lenny doing that a little bit. I mean, Kai Lenny is the main bridge for that I see. But there are a lot of guys, um, John and that they are surf foiling, paddling in the
Mhm.
surf foiling. But as far as I know, I mean, Kai's the only one who's really in that sort of scene who's using the wing. But yeah, look, I mean, more the merrier, man. I mean, look, I think if we can get more the merrier and it can drive the price down, the better. There'll be
Yeah.
nothing. I mean, that's the key, right? I mean, listen, and
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to what the big problem is. It's too expensive. We are this industry asks a lot from the people who want they ask a lot from the people of it. You know what it's like? It's like having a relationship with a girl who doesn't like you and she keeps asking for money and you keep on giving it. That's what our sport is. It's a bad relationship. I mean, that sums it up. It's like I love this girl so much, but I have, she keeps asking, and I keep on giving. We really want a good girlfriend. That's what we want. A good relationship equaling a good industry. But I mean, I think that we have to realize that we are new. When windsurfing a long time, of course. Kite surfing, let's say, under 25 years still, and then
Mhm.
winging in the last sort of 3 to 4 years. So we are very, very, very new. So we
Yeah.
are in the experimental stage. It'll be interesting to see what winging looks like in the next 5 years.
You started kitefoiling, right?
Yeah, yeah. I foil. I've got an F1 foil right there. I've had some bad experiences with foiling. Two reasons is no none of my friends foil, so I'm normally foiling alone. What they
Mhm.
don't tell you is that you actually need a decent kite to foil, especially in light winds. You need
Yeah.
to get a Colin fight. I've been riding just with the wrong kites. And the other thing they don't tell you is if the wind dies and your kite falls out of the air, and you're okay offshore, it is very, very hard to body drag with a foil and a kite. It's not fun.
Yeah.
And I've had some very, very long swims to the extent that I'm just like, man, I just don't know if I want to do this.